So friends, we just learned about yet another leaked Supreme Court opinion. Another leaked Supreme Court opinion authored by Justice Alito. And now there's new reporting that the leaker may be Alito himself. Let's talk about that, because justice matters. Hey all, Glenn Kirshner here. So remember when the Supreme Court opinion overturning Roe versus Wade, the opinion that revoked women's constitutional privacy rights, remember when that opinion was leaked? It was an opinion authored by Justice Samuel Alito. Well, friends, here we go again. Here is the new reporting from the New York Times. Headline, former anti-abortion leader alleges another Supreme Court breach. Years before the leaked draft opinion overturning Roe v. Wade, a landmark contraception ruling was disclosed, according to a minister who led a secret effort to influence justices. And that article begins, as the Supreme Court investigates the extraordinary leak this spring of a draft opinion of the decision overturning Roe v. Wade, a former anti-abortion leader has come forward claiming that another breach occurred in a 2014 landmark case involving contraception and religious rights. In a letter to Chief Justice John G. Roberts, Jr., and in interviews with the New York Times, the Reverend Rob Schenck said he was told the outcome of the 2014 case weeks before it was announced. He used that information to prepare a public relations push, records show, and he said that at the last minute, he tipped off the president of Hobby Lobby, the craft store chain owned by Christian evangelicals that was the winning party in the case. Both court decisions were triumphs for conservatives and the religious right. Both majority opinions were written by Justice Samuel A. Alito, Jr., but the leak of the draft opinion overturning the constitutional right to abortion was disclosed in the news media by Politico, setting off a national uproar. With Hobby Lobby, according to Mr. Schenck, the outcome was shared with only a handful of advocates. Okay, friends, let's break this story down into bite-sized pieces. What is the Hobby Lobby case? Well, we know what the Dobbs case is, right? That was the case that the Supreme Court used to overturn Roe v. Wade, to revoke women's constitutional privacy rights, to deny women the right to make their own reproductive health decisions. It was the case a majority of the Supreme Court used to announced that judges and politicians will make women's reproductive decisions for them without the woman's consent and perhaps over the woman's objection. That's what the Dobbs case is, but what is the Hobby Lobby case all about? The one that it looks like Justice Alito himself may have leaked back in 2014? Here's a short summary of it in that same New York Times article. In that case, the court ruled in a 5-4 vote that requiring family-owned corporations to pay for insurance covering contraception violated their religious freedoms. The decision would have major implications for birth control access, President Barack Obama's new health care law, and corporations' ability to claim religious rights. So, just like the Dobbs case, the Hobby Lobby case is an example of religion over the rule of law. So, how did the Hobby Lobby case leak out? Well, it's really a pretty simple set of facts and circumstances. Two couples had dinner together, Mr. and Mrs. Wright and Mr. and Mrs. Alito. Here's what happened next. A day later, Gail Wright, Mrs. Wright, one of the pair, contacted Mr. Schenck according to an email reviewed by the Times. And that email said, quote, "Rob, if you want some interesting news, please call. No emails," close quote. Mr. Schenck said Mrs. Wright told him that the decision would be favorable to Hobby Lobby and that Justice Alito had written the majority opinion. 3 weeks later, that's exactly what happened. So, in other words, friends, 2 + 2 = 4. The Wrights had dinner with the Alitos, and the next day, Mrs. Wright said, "Oh, by the way, Alito authored the lead opinion in the Hobby Lobby case, and Hobby Lobby will win." So it looks like we now know where the leak came from. Now, of course, Justice Alito has denied it. Outrageous. Well, let's pull back for a minute, because it reminded me of what Justice Alito said when he was giving interviews after the Dobbs decision had leaked. He said, "Oh my goodness, after the Dobbs decision revoking women's constitutional privacy rights leaked, I was getting threats. So, I couldn't have been the leaker." That was the inference he wanted us all to reach by the little bit of misdirection he was giving us. Yeah, well, it looks like it's now happened twice. So friends, it's past time that this be investigated. I suggest that one way to investigate it is to hold congressional hearings. Because when Judge Alito wanted to become Justice Alito, what did he tell the senators? And by extension, what did he tell the American people in his confirmation hearing testimony? Roe v. Wade has nothing to worry about from me. It's settled law, precedent, stare decisis, law of the land. It's been reaffirmed. It's entitled to respect that opinion. That's what he told us under oath. Those were lies. Why do I say they were lies? Because the minute he had the opportunity to write an opinion revoking women's constitutional privacy rights, he didn't say, "I've had a change of heart since I testified about how it was settled precedent and Roe had nothing to worry about from me." Those are my words, but that was the thrust of his testimony. No, what he said in his opinion overturning Roe versus Wade was, it was egregiously wrong from the start. It was an abuse of judicial authority, judicial overreach, words to that effect. So he was not being truthful under oath with the Senate at his confirmation hearing. And when you lie under oath to Congress, that's a crime. It's perjury. More precisely, it's called a false statement in violation of 18 United States Code 1001, and it's an impeachable offense. So why would we sit back and do nothing about Alito's lies? And we should investigate Alito's leaks as well. And if you look at the confirmation hearing testimony of the other justices who participated in the opinion revoking women's constitutional rights, Amy Coney Barrett and Kavanaugh and Gorsuch, they basically sent the same message and the same signal in their testimony. Roe v. Wade is settled, nothing to worry about here, until they had an opportunity to kill that precedent dead and to deny women the constitutional right that they had for 50 years to make their own reproductive health decisions. Why would we not investigate that? I contend there should be a law enforcement investigation to see if these judges who wanted to become justices so they could revoke women's constitutional privacy rights, to see if they lied under oath to the Senate. These things at a minimum should be investigated, should be pursued. Because if we don't pursue them, we're just sitting back and accepting that a handful of religious zealots can let their religion control over the rule of law, can let their religion lead we the people to losing our constitutional rights. I don't think we sit back and take that. I think we use the rule of law and we use whatever congressional authority and tools are available to dig in and to expose it. Because our rights matter and justice matters. Friends, as always, please stay safe, please stay tuned, and I look forward to talking with you all again tomorrow.